Okay, hello everybody. I am Captain Paxo. I'm going to be running LEGO Harry Potter years 5 through 7. And with me are these two wonderful people. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Los. I ran LEGO Batman 3 2 days ago.
And I'm Origin. I run LEGO games in general.
Cool. So we've got some basic things we need to start off with. First off, explaining the category. So the category is
В общем-то, раннеры и Лего игры собрались.
We have entered in the N0CUT5 cheat code. I'll just get it up here. So we've entered in this cheat code, and what this does is this allows us to skip all the cutscenes in the game. So with that up, we can skip.
Нам сейчас показывают N0CUT5. Это чит-код, который позволяет скипать все катсцены в игре. И это сохраняет около часа. Тут есть трюки на FPS, на очень высокий FPS. Тут будут лаунчи. Киты, которые отключают катсцены, которые...
Okay, so that donation incentive can be met all the way up until the last level, and we'll put the carrot ones extra on for the run. That's a great incentive, and of course you're supporting a really great cause by donating. So let's try and raise as much for that as we can, and as much for the marathon in general. But I think we're ready to get started.
Да. N0CUT5 экономит где-то час рано.
Start a new game. Yeah, if you do that. So we'll start on save file 3 because save file 3 is obviously the best file, and we'll start in
Скип заставок экономит где-то час.
1, go. Okay, so you can see we skip the cutscene straight away and we go straight into this level. So this is 5-1. Basically, the game follows the path of the films, and in each film there is 6 levels. We're doing 4 films because we have Year 5, Year 6, Year 7 Part 1 and Year 7 Part 2. We might sometimes
В общем-то, игра следует непосредственно за фильмом.
So if we say year 8, you know what it means at the very least. This section here is very easy. Normally you're supposed to fight the Dementors, but with one player in and with Dudley, you could just walk straight past them. And I guess now it's worth explaining. I will be using 2 controllers this entire run. So my second controller, as you can probably see, I am controlling with my chin the entire time. I'm using my chin to move the joystick, and then my other controller, I'm just using my left hand to be able to move the joystick and push the buttons. So yeah, that's a really cool tech that kind of stretches across a lot of LEGO games. It wasn't put in for a while, but then we realized it allows us to do so many more skips, as we'll see in this run. But yeah, this is our first auto-scroller as well. The priority in this auto-scroller is to collect as many studs as possible. Silvers are worth 10, golds are worth 100, blues are worth 1,000, and purples are worth 10,000.
This first section is just finding all the characters so you can get into.
Да, раннер играет на 2 геймпадах. Да, вы все правильно видите.
How much quicker it is if you have 2 players active. You can do the right and the left sides at once, basically cutting the room in half.
Yep. And also I'm doing what's known as a drop-in camera pan skip. So a lot of the time when camera pans start in this game, if you drop in at the right time, your characters immediately gain movement. Normally they're immobilized, so they can't get movement at any time. So that's quite a big time save that adds up across the course of the run. Okay. And now we're in the Ministry of Magic with Arthur and Harry.
In this section, Paxo is playing on 30 FPS.
Вот так вот надо играть на двух геймпадах сразу.
On lower FPS than you normally would be, because that makes the repairing...
Он сейчас играет на 60, хотя должен играть на 30, потому что ошибся с менюингом.
And we've got to time getting through this apparition point at the right time, so that there's a camera pan skip coming up right there, and we can make the drop in for that, because you can't drop in while like in the process of going through the flue powder gate, which Arthur was just going through. But we managed to get that in good time, which is really nice. I was actually on VSync off, whoops. So I've switched to VSync 30 now, so we can show off the fast fixing, I guess, with Arthur.
В общем-то, на меньшем количестве FPS быстрее идет ремонт, потому что меньше анимаций. На высоком количестве FPS будут скипы, которые ломают игру. Все как обычно.
And also being on 30 FPS allows you to hit a faster cycle with this box. I think, unfortunately, we missed it, but for some reason that box breaks in a cycle, and we have absolutely no idea why that happens, but it just works, which I think is going to describe a lot of this game in places.
He's also collecting a lot of stats in the first couple of levels.
Сейчас Раннер говорит, что я очень часто буду описывать, почему это работает фразой «это просто работает».
85,000 is like the minimum you could get through this level with, pretty much. So I'm going to have to be very careful. 86, okay. Now that's fine.
Yeah. But he eventually wants to buy a spell which is 110,000.
Yes.
And that spell will just completely break open the game and allow him to skip a lot of levels and just have the weirdest route possible in this game. We are not playing this chronologically at all.
No, in fact, this lesson that we're going to now is the last lesson that we actually do in order. After this, everything just goes a bit mental. So on the train platform here, I should probably switch my FPS off 30. There we go. On the train platform here, we are going to hit that with Ron, and that allows us to collect that later, which we're going to use at a certain point. We've got a few times to collect it, so even if I forget twice, I think we're still okay. But we've got a drop in camera pan skip here. There we go.
Современные лего-игры.
And we now make our way down to Hogwarts Castle. Luna's having a fun time there. Oh yeah, for some reason in this section you spawn with Luna. The game offers no explanation as to why that happens. It just does. I'm still very low on studs. Wow, okay. This will be interesting. But as we now make our way through here, and we're going to enter another cutscene right here. And this cutscene will be useful because this is not going to be the only time we see this cutscene.
Oh, we didn't see, but...
Well, we saw like the first frame. Yeah, even though you're only supposed to see that once, we're going to see it again, because I really like that cutscene. But we go through here, Ron gets a nice boost, that's really good. That's a sign we're on good FPS at the moment. There are a few, or there's one trick which kind of gets better the higher FPS you've got. So it's nice to know that we've got a pretty decent FPS right now.
Это трюк, который работает стабильнее на высоком FPS.
Because it can sometimes also be random as to like how quickly you drop in. Sometimes the game likes to wait for a bit, which is not the nicest. But we make our way into our first lesson. Do you want to explain the lesson?
Right, so this is the other band. So basically, the lore behind this is obviously you're in year 5 now, and you should know all the spells that you learned before. But that would make like a boring game if you already know all the spells you have to know. So they just like do the defense against dark arts with Umbrage. She bans.
И здесь вот говорится о том,
And
что
that makes it that you forget all your spells, so you can relearn them later.
Yeah, exactly. What we're doing now actually has
в общем-то, по сюжету игры с помощью темного искусства вы забыли все заклинания, которые уже знали, потому что игра была бы скучной, если бы вы умели все сразу. Поэтому разработчики решили просто забрать у вас все, что вы, по идее, знаете, и заново вас этому научить.
No one else has that yet. That only gets unlocked, but we never actually learn Expecto Patronus in this run.
Вот. Мы забыли наши заклинания. Печально-печально.
We're going to drop out here, and we're going to exit the room, and then immediately exit to Diagon Alley. Diagon Alley is like the start point for the hub world, and we're going to exit to it because we're going to go in the shop to buy a spell. Got to make sure I menu to the right spell. Okay. Definitely bought the right spell there. Good. So we have now bought the extra spell Glacius, and that is going to allow us to break this game entirely open, as we're going to see pretty shortly. You want to have a go at explaining freeze clips?
Yeah, sure. So every time you freeze your character with the other player, so for example if Paxo plays player 2 and he freezes him, you can change between specific spells. I think it's Lumos and another spell, and your character starts to shake rapidly, and for whatever reason that ignores collision and you can just clip through the wall. There's also a method to do it without changing the spells rapidly, which Paxo will be using. It's kind of up to preference. Some clips
В общем-то, нам объясняют, как мы можем кликнуться через стены.
And we're through the wall. That's how easy it is to break this game open. We're now in a spot which we shouldn't be until we've completed, I think.
Мы заморозили своего союзника. Он начинает дрожать, вот так вот вверх-вниз. Мы его толкаем, и он просто клипается через стену. Вот настолько просто сломать эту игру.
So for reference, you only beaten the first level. Like everything else you did were just lessons, not actual levels.
And in this section, I'm taking a bit of a safer route in this section. But I think for the moment we can throw it over for a few quick donations.
Yes, great. We have a donation from the Bloodborne donating $20 with the message, I believe in a Paxo throw in positive direction. Besides, carrots are good at freezing, right? Yeah, let's say so. And we also have $25 from Bearhead. Spam this saxophone emoji, saxophone emoji, saxophone emoji, to support Paxo. More saxophone emojis. Good luck, Paxo. Be sure to Paxo clutch instead of Paxo throw.
Yeah, hopefully we won't see a Paxo throw today. It's possible, but hopefully not. We get another drop in camera pan skip there.
We did some quite cool parkour there, taking the shield and using that as a level to get to high level.
Yeah, it's a little bit of unintended skip, which is quite nice. Otherwise, you
Но
have
этот
to
скип
build
с льдом довольно-таки
a big
прикольный.
potion thing and actually use the pets that for some reason the Weasley twins have. But instead, we don't need to use that at all. We can just do this. And we're building a giant rocket now to send into the exam hall while Harry's doing an exam.
Yeah, so for the record, we are at the end of year 5 now.
Basically, yeah. Although we're also not at the end of year 5 because after this, we're now going to do the second lesson that you're meant to do in year 5. So we're going back to the right order because the game. This is just the fastest route for doing this. It just works.
Yeah, the route has evolved a lot. So there's been a lot of reiterations. because there's just so many options of where in the story you can go at any point.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, we've just sequence broke EF5, but we're going to go a bit beyond that in a couple lessons or so. This lesson coming up is actually kind of interesting. So you can actually complete this level or this lesson in reverse. If you do a freeze clip before the level and then go back around and hit a trigger which is just behind the lesson trigger, the lesson still spawns, but you do it in reverse. That also skips the opening cutscene, but as we can skip the cutscene anyway in this category, it's just easier to do it this way.
Yeah, this is the fast roll lesson. You never use a fast roll, but it's mandatory that you do it anyways.
N0CUT5 — это восхитительный чит, который позволяет скипать катсцены. Экономия в час за счет скипа катсцен. Вот это прям действительно неожиданный поворот.
If you skip the cutscene, like in a standard or original percent run where you watch all the cutscenes, obviously it would save more since you don't have to watch a cutscene.
Yeah, I'm also doing a technique known as Lumos cancelling here, which is when I activate or when I interact with any NPC, if I then switch to the Lumos spell, that interrupts the animation of interacting with them, and it immediately ends. How am I hitting a ceiling here? This is weird. There we go.
Paxo is making it look easy, but
Was I? That didn't feel easy.
parkouring and making those jumps like that while controlling two players at once is definitely not easy.
Ну вот сейчас раннер одновременно и за двух персонажей прыгает, и кнопки нажимает. Прям очень серьезный ран.
But I don't really feel like doing that right now. So instead, we're going to go and start the second lesson in year 6. Because that's a thing you can do. So
it's not only warping in the same year, it's also warping in between years.
Yes. The reason for that is it's a lesson in a room that you normally cannot access until you're in year 6. So by accessing it early, the game isn't sure what state to put the room in. So it puts it in the first state that it can find, which happens to be the lesson itself. So I'm going to set Ron up here and actually target him. There we go, and then we're going to try and clip through this door here.
Второго раннера нет. Это все делает один человек. С двух контроллеров периодически.
There we go. Yeah, so
where it goes.
Yeah, so they are RNG as to whether you shake to the left or shake to the right. Most of the time you shake to... it's just completely RNG. You can kind of influence it a bit, but not a large amount. If the game...
Судя по виду, Гермиона на этой загрузке нашла эффективный метод мотивации по изучению и учебе.
So by doing it correctly, he can just jump up there, ignoring the intended way and basically the whole puzzle here.
And now he has learned Aguamenti.
Yep.
Another nice thing to look out for is the loading screens, because they change for each year. So if you're not sure what year you're in, if you see the Great Hall, you're in year 5. If you see the trio making some potions, you're in year 6. If you see the tent and the camping, it's year 7. And if you see a dragon, it's year 7 part 2 or year 8, as you call it.
And because this lesson you normally do in year 6, once you leave it, the whole castle gets put in the state of year 6 and the whole game.
Yep, so now what we're going to do is we are now in year 6. So when we exit or go into the castle here, the castle is now in a year 6 state rather than in the year 5 state that we were in. And we're going to use that to completely take advantage of it and go straight to year 7. Unfortunately, we can't then just go straight from year 7 to year 8 and then complete the game. Oh, sorry, year 7 part 2 and complete the game. We have to, basically this first half, 2/3 of the run, we have a giant shopping list of all the stuff we need to get in the first 3 years. And then once we've got all of that stuff, we can then go to year 8 and complete all of year 8. Unfortunately, the 6-1 trigger is right where Luna is standing at the moment, and we need to go around that to access the year
В общем-то,
7.
Раннер говорит, что надо
And the
получить
game is not being nice to me so far.
множество предметов, прежде чем они стартанут последний год.
There we go.
Поэтому мы вынуждены проходить все предыдущие годы полностью честно.
Put the year 7-1 trigger, so the first level for year 7, in front of the Luna trigger for 6-1. So we're basically storing triggers now so we can easily warp between levels later.
Yep. So we enter here. This is the loading screen for year 7. This is, or year 7 part 1. And this is actually the lesson, technically lesson, or the event, I guess, after we complete 7-1. This is the diner fight. But we're going to then exit to Diagon Alley again, and you can see it's raining now. That's not because we put rainy day mode on, like we were doing in the last run, but that is because we are now in the year 7 state, and we're going to enter this door, and hopefully it's going to put us, yes, there we go. Sometimes that can enter 6-1 instead of 7-1, and if it does that, we need to exit and do the clip through all over again. So thankfully we don't have to worry about that. I went the wrong way.
So now we're in first level of year 7, 7 Harrys. Anyone that knows the story might remember that they tried to smuggle Harry out of his home by having 6 decoys. And this first part is making the polyjuice potion for it.
Yeah, this is a fairly simple level, so if you want to go with a few more donations.
Absolutely. We have a donation of $25 from Ananas saying, the Lego games are always a treat. Great fun to play and full of fun glitches too. And that donation also went towards the Carrot One's incentive. Thank you very much for that donation. And we have a $30 donation from Code Alpha saying, an incredible run for an incredible event. Keep it up. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much for those donations. That's really kind of you all. And still raising money for this great cause as well. Let's smash all those targets that we've got set up. Let's try and get them all.
Also, if you're confused in this section, the higher the FPS, the game gives you more stats. So as you can see, we're over 300,000 stats on player 1. And if you have like a really good PC, you can get over 1 million stats just in this section alone. So stats shouldn't be any problem anymore from now on.
Yeah, I mean, we need 275,000 for the rest of the run, and we're going to be at almost 600,000 leaving this level. So yeah, we're absolutely fine for stats. Even if we meet the Carrot One's incentive, which does cost an extra 10,000, I think we might just be alright.
Типичные маги. Спидранеры — это маги. Всегда находят, где клипнуться и как проскользнуть.
Yeah, I got
I
it.
missed
Okay.
it.
No, I got the one with Hermione.
Okay.
Yeah, so this section is just where the Death Eaters crash Bill and Fleur's wedding. If that wants to work, there we go.
Yeah, this first level spans quite a bit of events.
Yeah. And we're going to drop out for another drop-in camera pan skip here. If the swan wants to go in the right place. There we go. Yeah, there's not much to talk about in this section, but
Красивый
that's
ран
all
на
right
самом-то деле,
because
красивый.
this is the only
Сложно
time
сказать,
in year
что
7 we actually
есть
play
какие-то
at all.
большие проблемы.
We don't play anymore in year 7. And the reason for that is, like I said earlier, we have a giant shopping list of items we need to get. And the 3 things we need to get in year 7 are Hermione's bag, the Deluminator, and Apparition. We need to learn how to apparate. Those are all accomplished either in or immediately after the first level of year 7. So we do not need to play the rest at all. Quick drop in camera pan skip.
As you saw, now the arrow pointed to the diner door, which you used to set up this like state that we're in year 7.
Yep. So when we break this game, it's broken each year. On the whole, remains mostly linear, but we can jump between the years freely, and we're going to see that quite a lot to just save time in certain places.
Now he's in year 6 again.
Yeah.
Because he removed the trigger for 7-1 from the door, but the trigger for 6-1 was still there. So now we took the door and we warped to year 6 again.
And we're going to set up for another freeze clip here. And then once we get inside this room, I'm going to do another freeze clip, which you wouldn't normally do in this category. But it's a fun one to do because it means I complete the section after this wall almost blind. So I'm going to drop out player 1 here, and I'm going to try and complete this section without really seeing much of the game. Okay, that's that thing. Basically, we have to build or put like 3 paintings of previously famous students in the right place, I think. They all go into this corner here. But we have a few
Я не
things
знаю
that we
заклинаний,
set up,
потому
and
что
this is just kind of a fun strat that I like to do.
я
Save time
я
in
бывший маг.
when you have to watch the cutscenes because it actually skips a cutscene. But it
На деле в
doesn't
этом спидране,
save
что
time in
самое
this
приятное, комментировать-то ничего и не, не надо. Все очевидно.
I missed the rocket jump. No.
Сейчас непосредственно Ран рассказал, что вот то, что он делал с этим скипом, это просто ради веселья, потому что на игру это никак не влияет в этой категории из-за того, что мы в N0CUT5, то есть мы можем пропускать заставки, но в категории, в которой N0CUT5 запрещено использовать этот чит-код на пропуск заставок, она пропускает заставку.
We attach there and then place that on there. We can actually move during this camera pan. So Harry is actually going to run over towards the door by the end, and then we can just enter the door to end the level straight away. So we've just completed 1 level in year 7, 1 level in year 6. Where's the logical place to go now? Year 5, of course. So we're going to make our way back here. And what's the best way of explaining this?
Is there a good way?
I mean, the game just works, but I guess so. When we entered the Hogwarts Castle for the very first time after completing the first level, there was a trigger through the particular door we entered to warp us to Gryffindor Common Room. We're actually going to use that trigger again because there we go. Yeah, we're going to use that trigger again to be able to... Oh, my brain is not working. It's too early.
I can do it. So, you're never supposed to actually go back outside the castle in year 5. So the trigger that actually played the cutscene doesn't get removed after you've beaten year 5, or at least part of year 5. So by warping between all the levels and years, the trigger never gets
Так, у меня
removed.
зависла трансляция, чат, держитесь.
And enter Hogwarts
Я
again.
перезапущу.
You're still there, plays the cutscene, and the cutscene actually teleports you to year 5 then. That's the explanation.
В общем-то, как вы видите, этот ран довольно-таки сложный, потому что вам нужно очень много управлять персонажем, когда как говорится, у вас недостаточно рук для всего этого дела. Ему вот буквально ему приходится постоянно сейчас, вот постоянно переключаться на второй геймпад и управлять со второго геймпада периодически, так что...
As we were just discussing, we go through this door and we're going to see the loading screen for year 5 again.
Тут прямо очень много ему приходится
There will
делать.
be a test on this later. But we go through here and we're going to leave the Gryffindor common room for the one and only purpose of entering the Gryffindor common room again.
В общем-то, мы вышли из комнаты и зашли в нее заново, потому что это запускает уровень.
This is how we start the level 5-2.
Ой, он случайно сменил котика.
So this level is basically a fetch quest, if you want to say it like that. You're assembling your Dumbledore's army here, and you need to recruit all your friends. Everybody has one specific problem, or he wants something or she wants something, so you just give them whatever they need, and they'll join you at the end.
Every time Paxo gives an item to these NPCs, you will see him Lumos cancelling, and he'll keep the item in his hand.
Yep, so you can see, I think Hermione right now has, Hermione still has the wand, which she supposedly gave to whoever that character was. I've forgotten their name. Right at the very
Dean,
start.
you think?
I think it might be Dean, yeah. Also, to be able to activate Luna earlier, we actually just, hit her with some magic a few times. Not freezing her, though. That wasn't what I meant to do. Actually, that works. Okay, that's... You learn something new every day. And then short camera pan skip here, and we're going to run away with Harry and collect the shovel for Neville.
Так, внимание, чат, это только у меня трансляция подлагивает, или у нас на стриме тоже есть фризы из... Нет. Все нормально, чат. Если у вас подлагивает трансляция, это не у нас, это у Иса. Если подлагивает немного. Все нормально, чат, все хорошо. Не пугаться, не пугаться. Это ESA. Мы тут ни при чем. Это особая спидран-тактика. Знаете, это просто... Эта игра боится раннера. Она боится его.
And we have these puzzles on the left, which normally, I'm going to curse myself by saying this, but normally you shouldn't mess up because it's just remembering where 4 things are. However, this speedrun tends to have a habit of just breaking your brain somehow, so that I just completely forget what order all 4 are in. But hopefully we'll be okay.
I think that was the only time you're actually using Expecto Patronum in the entire run, right?
Yes, it is, yes. I hope you enjoyed that use of Expecto Patronum. We don't need it again, because we never really deal with Dementors again. Oh yeah, we skipped this cutscene.
Probably should, but we just skip it, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do a bit of management for later here, actually. We're going to open this door to the library, but we're not going to go in it right now. Instead, we're going to open the door to the bottom level and go in that one as well. We open the door to the library to save time later.
So for whatever reason, behind the library is actually a door that leads all the way to year 8. You're not supposed to open the library in year 5. So no idea why there's a trigger that actually goes all the way to year 8 there.
Yeah.
But since we the sequence broke in the game and got Augmenti in year 5, we can open that one earlier. Like in all the other other years, it would just be actually going to the library. There's also a door like this in the Ravenclaw common room, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're now in the dueling lesson. So we've got a bit of time here, bit of downtime, so let's throw it over to a couple of donations.
Yes. I just wanted to remind you all that we are here to collect money for charity, and thanks to contributions from private individuals and companies, Alzheimer Fonden was able to distribute almost $3 million last year. This was enough to grant around 19% of the projects applied for. So donate to help us ensure even more projects are approved this year.
Yeah, it's an absolutely amazing cause, so any money that goes towards it is always greatly appreciated. So
Where are you going now?
when we're going now, I am going to have to focus for a bit. The next level we're going to go for is called Focus, but there's also a spell in this game called Focus. So you would think by doing the level Focus, we learn the spell Focus, but no. We don't actually learn the spell Focus throughout this run at all. In fact, we use it once. So instead, we're just going to go into the level and try and focus a bit. This first room has the most RNG freeze clip in the run, because there's no way of actually getting an infinite shake in this level. That should be... That's Harry. How did that happen? Yeah, there's no way of getting an infinite shake in this level, so instead, what we've got to do is position Snape against this barrier here, and then once he starts shaking, we're going to pause the game. And you can see that the ice cube is still moving, even though we're paused, and we've got to hope that that ice cube is... that ice cube's going the wrong way. Okay, but we've launched over. This game's great. So normally you're supposed to clip behind, but apparently we could just launch over and hit the end trigger for that room.
Sometimes it launches you, it's really not consistent, so it's not a strat you ever go for, but...
Yeah, you never intentionally go for a freeze launch. I think actually there's one place in unrestricted where you can go for it, but in this category we never do. This category does ban most launches, because you can launch with the pets as well, but that's banned in this category. Instead, accidental freeze launching is fine though. And instead we just go through walls most of the time instead, so it's not like this is a glitchless run by any stretch of the imagination.
No?
Could have fooled me.
So we hit this, switch to Lumos. The music goes eerily quiet for a minute, I forgot about that. And then we're in the Ministry of Magic. Basically, the entire concept of this level is that we're kind of going back through Harry's memories as Snape's trying to teach him occlumency, which is,
В общем-то,
I guess,
почти
also
вся
the
игра
basis for the
строится на
focus spell, but
обучении.
not actually the basis for the focus spell. It's weird. But yeah, we're going to go through here. Snape's just... That's a reason why Harry's like a kind of grayed out character and Snape is a full color character, because Snape's technically in the present and Harry's in the past. That's just the thing they decided to do. I think they did that in years 1 through 4 as well. That didn't hit the cloud. There we go. And that's the end of the level.
Why is Voldemort in a memory of Harry there?
Yes.
No explanation given.
I mean, he just is. I think it's like... I think that's how the game portrays like Harry's recurring visions of Voldemort. It's just... He's on a train platform for some reason.
Voldemort also has to get somewhere.
Even Voldemort has to rely on public transport. So the ghost arrow is trying to point us into that room there for a lesson. We're not actually going to go in that lesson yet, because that is how we're going to get back to year 5 later. Instead, we're going to go to year 6 and do some stuff in year 6 now. This is a decent amount of overworld movement. I just need to make sure I go the right way, that's all. We follow the ghost for the moment, and then go through here, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, we need to go back. So the ghost, as you can see, is now actually pointing in a completely different direction. And that is because by going into that room, we actually hit a flag for the game to progress. I think usually there's a cutscene after 6-1, but we skip that by hitting that flag. And we can then proceed to the next lesson, which is Draft of Death. Well, I think it's Draft of Living Death in everything except the Lego game.
Yeah.
Okay, good, I did remember that. I was kind of half paying attention to what those colors were, so thankfully we're alright. So we've got to build 3 ingredients for a potion, which we never build again. But it does turn you into a skeleton if you drink it.
This one was the
Ту-ту-ту-ту-ту.
first.
It's not the nicest.
Замечательный пазл, если вы делаете его
Is,
одновременно
sometimes
с
these
2
paintings can get stuck
рук.
inside each other.
Exactly, yeah.
And if that happens, that's a soft lock, but we're good here. I'm also going to overlap the credit for completing the level with collection of a gold brick. And that gold brick collection saves a handful of seconds. It's not much, but in standard it saves even more when you can't skip the cutscenes, because it does skip that cutscene. So now we're going to switch to Hermione here, because in the next room we're going to see that Crookshanks is actually one of the fastest characters in the game. And the next room is long enough that we can put down Crookshanks, and Crookshanks is just quicker to run to the next room.
Then Hermione just runs after her.
Yes, that is one key change between Harry Potter years 1 through 4 and years 5 through 7. Hermione actually chases after the pet. I didn't do this earlier. I thought I did, oh well. We've got to build half of these stairs so we can then jump down the rest. Ron just went on an adventure. But we're gonna prepare that token for later as well. So actually when we exit the level, that token is going to override the usual end level screen. Or end
В общем-то,
lesson kind of item.
сейчас начнется, наконец-то, более-менее активная часть рана, потому что
Yeah.
чем дальше продвигаемся, тем больше у нас возможностей на заклинания особые.
It just skips a little bit of
В
time.
скобочках все это у нас было в предыдущих
Another dropping
частях
camp
как
axe
таковых.
here, and we have
Но
a
из-за
bit of
того,
time
что
here because
на нас
the
забвение
bubbles come
нагинуло
all the way
восхитительное.
down and go
Нам
up
пришлось
and
заново
down
все это
the
учить,
story
поэтому
path,
придется проходить все это дело гораздо
and then we go through here.
активнее. И, в общем-то, начинается воспоминание Гарри. Ну и не только Гарри, потому что в 5-7 году обучения начинается любимая
Was on the upper level? Yeah.
для многих
So I should
разработчиков
explain, this entire section is, starting
часть
with Dumbledore's
разработки,
lab.
где можно просто взять
This is
воспоминания
a
и
flashback
накрутить там
to
геймплейчика.
when Dumbledore recruited Tom
Множество
from
эффектов,
Hogwarts.
множество сюжетных воспоминаний. Мы стараемся не спойлерить,
And
так
there's
что
usually a cutscene.
ничего личного сюжета вы не
You can
узнаете.
just see it there, but we're skipping it because we're going fast. For once. Weird for my runs, but this is actually not too bad. And from here, we're now going to go and, even though we're back in Diagon Alley, and that usually means we're going to warp to a weird year somehow, we're actually not going to. We're instead actually going to go and enter Hogsmeade through this direction. The reason for that is, I think it's just faster. I don't think it's
Вот
like
это
with the route that we've done, I
интересный
don't
термин
think-
раннера.
I think we could still make it going the other way, but I think it's like
Я
too
думаю,
easy
это
and
быстрее.
some other weird shenanigans.
Это-
So instead,
Это
going this way
типичная
round is
часть
actually
многих
more
ранов
faster
зачастую,
and
кстати,
more
когда...
consistent.
and
Like we saw,
Я думаю, это быстрее.
are just
Главное верить иногда в спидранах, что это быстрее, и это будет реально быстрее.
they're possible on
Пеппи
some
хайп.
areas. It's just not as consistent.
Что-нибудь про 2К зрителей сказать? Ну, мы, скорее всего, оказались на главной. Такое бывает, это радостное событие. И если кто-то здесь главный, добро пожаловать. Это непосредственно рестрим ЕСа. Это благотворительный марафон, проходящий в Европе. Собираются деньги на фонд борьбы с Альцгеймером. В общем-то, марафон чуть менее популярный, нежели ГДК Games Done Quick. Проходят они каждые полгода, можно сказать, потому что зимой и летом ЕСа ГДК проводит марафон. И, в общем-то, раннеры со всего мира подают свои игры, чтобы показать то, насколько хорошо они в игре. И у нас вот капитан Пакса6746 показывает довольно-таки интересный момент, что он играет с двух геймпадов, и это необходимо, потому что в игре зачастую быстрее, именно быстрее, проходить загадки и головоломки вдвоем, но поскольку второго раннера у него нет, ему приходится играть на двух геймпадах. Плюс скип вот с фризингом требует того, что он замораживает самого себя, вот практически, и двигает сам свою же модель, чтобы она кликнулась куда ему надо. Все довольно-таки просто, если практиковаться. В общем-то, думаю, большинство людей нравятся видеоигры, кто находится на Твиче, потому что это платформа о видеоиграх. И те, кто любит свою игру и хочет изучить ее максимально полно, иногда приходят к спидранингу. И вот мы сейчас видим, как человек, который очень любит Лего Гарри Поттера, спидранит Лего Гарри Поттера, просто чтобы быстрее пройти игру, которая ему нравится, ему весело играть. Он даже, блин, 2 геймпада использует для этого. 2 геймпада. Если, кстати, вам не интересно, например, Лего-игры как таковые, вы можете написать расписание в чат в наш и посмотреть в расписании игру, которая вам нравится, заглянуть к нам, либо на ЕСУ, потому что так или иначе вы поможете благотворительности и фондам борьбы с Альцгеймером, принеся просмотры, немного посмотрев рекламу. Все это идет в благие цели, так что... Если вам что-то понравится, заглядывайте. Я бы порекомендовал вам заглянуть на Metal Gear 2, Sons of Liberty. Будет довольно-таки интересный ран, хотя те, кто его видел, уже видел. Будут Соники, будет даже Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, если вы любите Metroidvania. Так что не стесняйтесь, посмотрите списки игр. Возможно, вы найдете свою любимую игру и узнаете о ней то, чего никогда не знали, потому что на спидранах очень много всего интересного.
And part of the reason why we do such a weird route is because of this train, actually. So, I think in year 7, this train no longer spawns here, which means that we had to do year 7 or 7-1 early, because otherwise, if we did it later, then we'd have no way of actually getting back to where we need. Also, yeah, we start on Hogsmeade platform. Or when we get to Hogsmeade platform,
Лего-доты пока еще не придумали. Но если у вас есть желание, вы всегда можете ее создать. Пеппи Хайп.
Which is weird that they like completely oversaw that as a when they were developing the game. That's one freeze clip. That one I use the mashing method for because the infinite method's a lot harder to set up. And we've got to go through here.
Ну вот, он периодически повторяет одно и то же действие, вот буквально одно и то же действие, в котором замораживает и толкает персонажа. Это необходимо для того, чтобы сделать скип. Да, во, отлично. В общем-то, так вы можете немного больше даже узнать о разработке игр, потому что, как вы понимаете, сюжетные триггеры находятся уже на уровне, и сама активация сюжетных триггеров предполагает, что ваш персонаж задевает какую-либо область, невидимую для вас, как игрока, но видимую игре относительно того, что вы задели этот триггер, начинается заставка. И по логике игры, где бы вы ни находились, вас перемещают в заставку. И вот в Лего Гарри Поттере это используется как основная механика скипа заставок. Плюс категория позволяет скипать заставки с помощью чита N0CUT5. Представляете? Целый чит, чтобы скипать заставки. Может. Расписание. Да, у нас есть расписание. босс-файт, кстати, в котором нам надо подождать, пока персонаж X остановится, потому что все так же. Спойлер-фри, пожалуйста, а то вдруг реально кто-то не знакомый с тем, что... Сколько у нас?
And in classic
18 лет назад игра вышла.
fight fashion, it's 3 phases, and the boss throws something at you. And
А
you have
считать ли
to-
спидранинг читом? Да нет. Ну хотя, все можно считать читерством, потому что читерство — это обман. Неважно, как вы его делаете, если вот совсем буквально воспринимать слово читерство. Так что, да, мы обманываем игру в том, что мы прошли ее полностью честно иногда. Но иногда есть спидраны, в которых вообще нет каких-либо гличей, и все это просто оптимизация мумента. Но это все равно тоже обман разработчика, потому что они не рассчитывали, что так игру пройти можно. Потому что если посмотреть, ну вот здесь вот игрок должен пытаться победить, все такое. А мы на ране просто бегаем из-за того, что знаем, что мы не можем ничего сделать с этим файтом, никак его ускорить, вообще никак на него повлиять, поэтому просто стоим. Это проще и быстрее. Если что, спам бота не выйдет. У бота ограниченное количество на ответ. Поэтому если вы будете спамить расписание или букву «Р», бот не всегда будет вам отвечать.
2.0 engine Lego games, which this was one of the first ones, I think. But that's this boss fight complete, and we are done with 6-3. So we've now completed all the levels we need to complete in year 5, year 6, and year 7.
Мы только что, кстати, закончили все уровни, которые нужны для 5-6 года.
We do that through collecting the 2 spells we need to as well. So we go into this door here, and we are in year 6, which means we spawn in doing Reducto. So this is the spell you're actually supposed to learn at this time. We're actually being well behaved and doing something in order for once. For once, but don't worry, once we leave that room, that's exactly going to change, because you might remember ages ago, we didn't choose to enter this room when we could enter it to do the Defindo spell, and that's because we do the Defindo spell now.
And we're back in year 5.
Yeah, and you're back in year 5 now as well. So we warped into here, and we also warped into another year.
Yep. So you can see on the screen as well, in the top middle, it's saying we have 3 items we need to craft.
Вот здесь вот, кстати, нам говорится, что мы должны крафтить 3 предмета. Но игра не проверяет это почему-то. Поэтому нам не обязательно крафтить все. И оп, оказывается, что только рыбы достаточно, потому что на рыбе висит триггер о том, что выдать нам заклинание. И разработчики не рассчитывали, что вы сможете без этой лестницы и вентилятора допрыгнуть до этой платформы, где вы делаете рыбу. То есть вот этот вот прыжок экономит нам создание 2 предметов и активирует замечательнейший, просто замечательнейший скип в виде того, что мы просто крафтим рыбку и получаем наш спелл.
Rather than what would be sensible, which would be to warp us to the next available state, which would be year 6. That's just the game doing things.
Game doing the game.
Yeah. And I think, as you also mentioned, there's one other spot we can warp from.
Years 5-7. Годы,
year 5
года.
all the way to year 7 part 2.
Год с 5 по 7 в русском языке будет это называться. Лего Гарри Поттер год с 5 по 7. Ну, то есть у нас бы дефис, скорее всего, не написали. Либо 5 дефис 7 год был бы. То есть у нас слово years не было бы в начале, оно было бы в конце. То есть у нас сначала... Ну, у нас так-то можно сказать и год 5 дефис 7. Год с 5 по 7, год 5-7 тоже. И вот это, кстати, то, что меня больше всего в логике Гарри Поттера поражало. Я, конечно, понимаю магический мир и все такое, но вот эта вот вагонетка, которая делает обороты вокруг 360, когда вы находитесь на оси неподвижной. Я понимаю, конечно, что это механизм, в котором вы не вертитесь, а вертится только вагонетка. Но у меня всегда был вопрос, зачем? Почему?
But then by completing 8-3, we still then have to go back and complete 8-1 and 8-2 before then completing 8-3 again. Because the game has a set story progression and it doesn't want to deviate from that.
5-10 минут пятого года. Ладно, это действительно забавно.
Or to actually advance the story progression. It will still count the level as completed, but it won't progress the story.
Вот здесь вот раннеры говорят о том, что есть способ заставить игру подумать, что уровень пройден, но поскольку разработчики повесили довольно-таки много лишних триггеров, ну не лишних, триггеров, которые смотрят на множество событий в самом уровне, то игра будет думать, что вы прошли уровень, но вам будет недостаточно как бы условий для прохождения дальше. То есть вы не сможете продвинуться дальше по сюжету из-за того, что вам не хватит активированных триггеров для этого. Вот здесь вот, кстати, очередной фрисклип был.
Basically, we just like left the vault the way we entered it, and as soon as you're in the vault, this room is actually exactly the same room as it was before we entered the vault, but entering the vault actually spawns in certain.
Сейчас раннер на двух геймпадах, если что, все выполняет. Как только вы видите сплитскрин, то это значит, что он активирует второго игрока.
Yeah, essentially this room advances the state of the room by 1. So we then have to finish the level off, we have to hit 5 of these security goblins. There are 6 we can hit. And we got all 6 first cycle. Very nice. That's a little bit of a 2-player movement there as well, just to make sure you can actually see all of the goblins, so quite nice to get that first try. And now we go, and I need to remember to collect the token here, because otherwise this route is completely soft-locked.
Вот здесь вот мы обязательно берем токен, потому что во всех альтернативных случаях мы ловим софтлок. Так что, к сожалению, игру тут обмануть не получится. Вообще, если вы посмотрите на предыдущий ран с 3DS, можете увидеть, насколько сильно выросли лего-игры за эти годы.
So by collecting that token, we are all good to be able to progress forward. Oh, whoops. I go a little bit too early there. There we go. And now we're starting Year 8, Part 2.
И вот, начинаем последний год. Ну, если вспоминать игры Лего, то у меня самая ненавистная игра за всю историю, в которую я когда-либо играл, это Лего Властелин колец на PS Vita. Это была настолько ужасная, сломанная, забагованная игра. Просто ужасно. А на PS4 она прям хорошая игра. Потому что там совсем другая игра. Estimate с 5 по 7 года 1 час 22 минуты. Ну, раннер уложится где-то за час 20, даже час 15. У него пока что особых проблем не было, там скипы некоторые помучили нас и все. Хочу заметить, игра практически не сломана. Это самое интересное. Практически. В основном здесь все трюки связаны с локом FPS. То есть Оптимизация насчет того, что некоторые моменты, когда надо многое чинить, смотрятся в 30 FPS.
We're going to make sure that Hermione does the radio first before Ron does the rocket. We want them to be like as close together as possible, so we complete them both at near enough the same time. But if we do the rocket first, then Hermione's section like stops immediately, and that tends to lead to some time loss. Also, we got bad RNG here because I've just frozen the person I'm supposed to be dueling against, which is apparently against the rules. But do you want to try and explain the
Надо
dueling
просто
mechanics
собрать.
here?
So yeah, so there are certain spells, I think it's 4 spells in total, and it always goes clockwise, so you always know which spell you have to mash to next. And it's basically just quick time events.
В общем-то, сейчас нам надо менять заклинания. И для нас это, по идее, должно быть неожиданно, но все они идут по часовой стрелке, так что мы заранее можем переключиться на нужное заклинание и тапать кнопку
Your opponent.
А, получается, A-button, до тех пор, пока не выиграем дуэль.
Have this Snape section. Once again, standard Lego formula. Bad
У
guy throw objects,
комментатора
we throw objects
Раска 12 часов, у Есы 10 часов. Вы можете посмотреть внизу справа время, которое сейчас у
back.
Есы.
Must be pretty much all of them.
Расписание, которое вы открываете вот в нашем чатике, это расписание непосредственно марафона, адаптируется под ваш регион.
Thankfully, I think it's 7-2,
Так что там всегда будет указано ваше местное время, если вы хотите знать,
there's like
когда начнется ран, можете сопоставить его с тем, что
5 objects each, I
у
think.
Есы написано, потому что
And in between
оно
each
совпадает
phase,
с
you have to do
локальным
multiple
временем.
things again. Thankfully, we don't have that here. We are going to end with a dueling phase here, though. And I
Если что, расписание можете посмотреть, там периодически ему бот выше показывает, потому что у нас получается так, что у него ограничение на количество запросов от пользователей, поэтому иногда модераторы будут дублировать ваши сообщения.
we can
Ну вот, несколько дуэлей подряд проходит довольно-таки просто, учитывая, что... О, сейчас ран расшибся, и из-за этого я получил урон.
on the thing, what we need to be able to skip certain spells, so we can then make sure we encounter Agramenti twice in a cycle of 4, which is it only saves like a couple of seconds when you don't get hit by Snape, but unfortunately, it probably came out about even this time. We're now going to go do 8-3, which is probably the point where I'm worried in the run, because the last 2 runs I've done of this game, it's softlocked 3 times in the first room. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm going to try and do the freeze clip to go through the pillar in the first room. But yeah, that has softlocked a couple of times.
Вот здесь вот есть риск софтлока, что мы надеемся не случится.
Yeah. It will probably lose like a minute if we get softlocked, so hopefully not. Yeah, touch wood, knock on wood. I think, yeah, it loses like a minute, but it shouldn't happen. That doesn't mean it won't, though. But basically, we've got to get through
То, что
this,
это не должно случиться, это не значит, что этого не случится. Хорошая цитата.
and the game is a bit weird with that, but because it's like it's one wall, but then after the wall, like inside of it has collision as well. It's very weird to explain. It's a weird kind of physics thing, but you can like run back.
Вот здесь вот вы видите прямо, как работает с freezing skip. Мы не софтлокнулись. Это уже хорошо.
They will just jump over it, completely ignoring the wall. So that's exactly what Harry did.
This is also a very difficult jump to get over the toxic goo.
Yep, so I'm doing a buffer jump here. So I'm jumping, letting go of the jump button in the air, and then re-grabbing it as I land. And that means I get a frame perfect jump. But it's also like a pixel or 2 which only you can jump on. That's not good. Okay, there we go.
Nice.
Довольно-таки хорошо получается пока что. Ничего такого
Sometimes it does that,
особо
and if the characters are
ужасного у раннера не
then
происходит. При учете, что он играет с двух геймпадов, ошибиться довольно-таки просто. Из-за того, что если он
To do optimally 1P2C,
непосредственно
you're moving
потеряет
from
какой-либо
character, and you're
input
basically just setting
управления,
everything
вот
up.
когда он
So
нажимает
you
кнопки с
just wants
помощью...
to go menu and pick
Это
up
как
the
описать
stuff,
метод владения геймпадом, когда он
set up, and
его держит одной
then
рукой и с
follow.
помощью головы двигается персонажем. В общем-то, если он ошибется, то ему придется переделывать часть загадки, что не очень-то удобно в его
Also
случае.
cool and glitch here. So by going in there, we saw that feature before that Hermione followed Crookshank. So with placing down the toad there, we can go through this little crack in the wall, and the other player will just try to follow his pet. And the only way up there for like the player itself is jumping up there, which we normally couldn't do. Like we can't jump that high, but AI can.
Yep. The AI is given all sorts of weird superpowers in LEGO games. And sometimes they even work in your favor. Most of the time they don't, but sometimes they do. We've got a precise jump here to try and put this firework in the, firework, oh, it's not firework, it's a bomb. Put it in the holder. That's, looks a lot more precise.
Довольно-таки легко.
Or it is a
Легко.
lot more precise
На
than
самом
it
деле,
looks.
это просто
Now,
ужасно
the next
неудобно, мне
sequence with Ron and
кажется.
Hermione,
Он
and for this
постоянно
one,
подбородком
it's just
двигается.
impossible. We're not
Это
gonna use that in this
просто
level.
ужас.
Instead, we're just gonna clip through a wall.
И все это ради того, чтобы делать вот этот вот фриз-клип, потому что он требует, чтобы один игрок
But
дергал геймпадом в
basically,
тот
in
момент,
the
когда он
first
заморожен,
sequence, Ron
и физика
is
игры
having
почему-то
talk in his sleep
неправильно
to
рассчитывает
pass
его
the time.
позицию.
But in the LEGO game, he just learned it. Ron's been keeping up with his Duolingo courses.
А насчет игры ногами, я знаю несколько раннеров, которые ранят так, действительно. Это этот. Если я правильно помню, в Марио с шляпой есть глич, который требует двух игроков. И есть раннеры, которые играют за Марио и за шляпу одновременно. Так что там такие раны показать можно. Уф.
Much easier to be able to clip in, otherwise we'd be really struggling with that.
Yeah, you might have noticed by now that the game was definitely not built for good PCs, like V-Sync off stuff. It completely breaks the game.
Yep. Okay, now we're going to go to 8-4. This level, not in this category, but in unrestricted any percent, has seen a massive change over the past year or two, because we are now able to do something known as reductoless. In this category, we learn the lesson reducto, and we need that in a couple of places to complete this run, but you can actually skip those places if you have God tier FPS.
И вот здесь вот есть несколько мест, которые мы можем пропустить, если у нас очень большой FPS. Как сказал раннер, God tier. И это связано с тем, что у многих игр, которые разрабатывались на консоли PlayStation 3 до PS4, есть жесткий FPS-лог в 60, и разработчики при разработке игры четко знают, что 60 кадров — это ограничение. И все тестирования, оптимизации, анимации делаются с учетом того, что у вас будет только 60 FPS. И на старых играх, вот, если вы попробуете их запустить, вы обнаружите очень интересное поведение игры, когда она в большом количестве FPS работает быстрее. То есть там не ожидали разработчики, что будут такие кадры. Это, например, можно заметить при эмуляции старых игр, там Atari какой-нибудь 2600. Сейчас, я не оговорился, кстати, с версией Atari.
Yep, so this is one of the rooms that is skipped. If you caught it, you saw on the right, I was using reducto.
Какая версия у Atari была самой популярной?
Obviously with reductoless we can't use reducto.
2600, по-моему.
We actually just skip that entirely.
Там просто немногие знают, но там была Atari 7800, по-моему. Они
But
прям
now we
редкие.
have a few more dropping camera pan skips. Hopefully the AI is nice to me and doesn't decide that just when I
Так
want to drop
что
in the game that it's going to
FPS
die and
очень
take
важен
time
в
respawn.
старых играх. Ну и играх, которые на тройку дефис четверку разрабатывались, потом релизнулись на ПК спустя какое-то время из-за того, что там не ожидали разработчики никогда таких огромных кадров
Also, so
в
how much
секунду.
time those camera pan skips actually save there?
Absolutely, it adds up to probably about 3-4 minutes during the run in total. Especially this one. This one saves a surprising amount, but it's going to look like I did absolutely nothing. I did it wrong
Это,
anyway,
если
so-
что, не турниры.
Yes,
Это
we get to watch
просто
his camera pan. But
благотворительный
yeah, we have to
марафон.
wait for that camera pan to end.
And this is the other room where you actually need Reducto. So that's the second required use of Reducto in this room.
I didn't mean to break the plane there. So we're going to jump across to the right side platform with Ron, like we just did there. We technically don't have to do that, but broomsticks like to get in the way of the Aguamenti spell. And if that happens, that's really annoying. Whoops.
Ой, вот это, кстати, было непреднамеренно. Это вот то, о чем я и говорил, что если раннер ошибется в инпутах, то он за это заплатит. Здесь вот он довольно-таки грустно упал вниз, к сожалению.
Okay, so we're actually going to be finishing both sides here at about the same time. Which is quite rare, I guess, because my left side was a bit slower than normal. Because of the death with Harry, but that's
Сейчас он
quite
отмечает,
tough
что
one
он
to see
сейчас
there. That's,
с левой
some fast
стороны
movement in the run.
делает медленнее, чем обычно. Если что, каждая сторона — это один геймпад.
We got through that very
Так
nicely,
что,
and we
да,
technically only have 2 levels left
бедный
now.
раннер.
Technically.
И сейчас осталось всего 2 уровня.
That's
Practically, we have 3.
yeah. We actually have 3, but when I guess save that explanation for when we actually do it. But yeah, we're gonna head down here again, and I'm going to try and get this Lumos death cancel again. Yep,
Сейчас
there we go.
Lumos
Because, of
Descancel.
course,
Вот его падение должно было, по идее, его убить,
can't die.
но он не умер, потому
I don't know
что,
how it
используя
works. It
Люмос
also
в
only
полете,
works if there's ground
игра
below the
по
death
каким-то
zone.
причинам начинает фиксировать новое состояние падения, и он просто получает лишь часть дэмэджа из-за того, что отменил Люмосом падение с большой высоты.
So I did forget to drop out.
Мы, кстати, уже на 5 минут дольше, чем в Эре,
Which is a little bit
бежим,
annoying because there is a camera
что самое
pan
интересное.
right at the very start. There'll be like a couple frames where
You had it.
I did have it.
Yeah.
If I dropped out there, then I would have been able to drop in and skip the small camera pan, but it's not too bad. We're going to go over here, and we're actually going to jump on this statue, and for some reason that allows us to build up top. Normally we shouldn't be able to do that, but we just are. And also we can target this up top, even though we don't have a clear line of sight on it. Another dropping camera pan skip, and we're going to go and do what is known as pumpkin skip skip. Originally, there was a strat here called pumpkin skip.
И здесь
where
Pumpkin
you
Skip,
break this
скип
thing in the middle,
Пампкина,
pop out Hermione's bag,
причем
put
Pumpkin
up the
Skip,
catapult,
скип, дважды скип, потому что раньше был скип через
you
тыкву,
stand on the pumpkin, and as the
а
pumpkin is
сейчас
thrown, you make your way
они
up to
его
the top level
улучшили.
where the troll is, and that allows you to skip the troll boss fight, or at least the second and third phase of it. But instead, we found that we could skip the whole thing
Но
with a very precise
они
pumpkin
нашли
jump here.
способ
This will take me a few
пропустить
tries to
полностью
get,
весь файт
probably.
с помощью очень нестабильного
There are only a couple of pixels
прыжка.
instead.
Вот как вы видите, он сейчас прыгает, ему надо заслайдить на вторую половину стенки.
There's like a hole in the wall.
Pumpkin, тыква,
If you
тыква.
get that after jump.
Скип тыквы тыквы.
But
Скип,
as you see,
скип
you
скипа
can
тыквы. Во.
actually jump out of the same
Вот так вот
animation.
будет правильно назвать. В общем-то,
For whatever reason, like, the
с
edges
тыквой мы попадали вот к тому троллю, побеждали тролля, и только после этого могли продвинуться дальше.
There we go.
Но сейчас, вот, отлично.
that's how Pax
Мы
don't skip this
прыгнули дважды,
Yeah.
зацепились за коллизию, прыгнули еще раз и просто пропустили весь сегмент полностью. Изи.
We're also going to drop in player 1 here, and the reason for that is by having both characters dropped in here, you see Ron's still in the scared animation. But with both characters dropped in, we despawn the spiders that are scaring Ron. And that allows us to kind of break through and sequence break this entire first run.
Вот здесь вот мы полностью сломали последовательность, потому что, как вы видели, Рон дрожит, и причина его дрожи — это пауки. Но поскольку наши персонажи частично остались вот на той половине, они появились рядом с Роном, пауки, которые пугали Рона, исчезли. Они диспаунятся, потому что игрока тут нет, и игра оптимизирует ресурсы. Из-за чего мы полностью пропускаем последовательность, и Рон сразу крафтит вот это вот граммофон.
For finishing this room, you normally need to have focus, the spell. We don't have that, so we are going to hit the.
Чтобы пройти эту комнату, нам нужен spell focus, заклинание, но у нас его нет. Поэтому мы ее проходим с помощью ООБ. Easy.
But the game doesn't acknowledge it, so we need to go back in and free play with a character that does have focus and finish the level normally to actually progress to the last level.
И что самое интересное, нам придется вернуться в этот уровень с фриплеем, чтобы активировать триггер, который мы не могли задеть в ООБ, из-за того, что у нас не было заклинания нужного. Так что для прогресса в сюжете и истории иногда нам надо активировать все триггеры на уровне, что периодически происходит.
We now actually have the focus spell and we can actually do the fetch quest. That's also why we had to grab the character.
Yep. So we're going to do this level again, but thankfully we don't use the same tricks pretty much at all. I think it's a little bit different. At least we start off very differently because we now no longer need to get specifically Ron through this gate. Because we could just use another character. That was very quick. And then switch to Ron on the other side. So we can just skip that. Also, we can do a different version of Pumpkin Skip Skip. If I can actually roll. Where we roll up here.
И сейчас будет еще одна версия скипа, который мы видели. Только за счет другого персонажа, который может перекатываться. Используем большой FPS и Collision Boost, чтобы... Ах, паук. Паук заруинил. Все отлично. Почти first try.
It's basically the new game plus version of the level, where it actually allows you to swap between many different characters, and it's used to basically grab all the collectibles in the level.
В общем-то, новая игра плюс в игре предполагает то, что вы можете перепройти старые локации с помощью всех персонажей, которые у вас есть, и тем самым открыть все скрытые здесь золотые кусочки лего. Потому что лего-игры построены так, что вы не можете сразу открыть все. Они очень любят бэктрекать игрока.
And then we do this clip again, but this is only like a much smaller time save because we have to complete the section quote-unquote intended. Obviously this is not intended.
И вот мы вернулись на уровень, который скипали с помощью ООБ, и снова скипаем его с ООБ частично, потому что нам надо пройти его так, как задумывали разработчики, чтобы получить нужный триггер. Но все еще мы используем out of bounds, именно выход за границы уровня, чтобы сэкономить немного времени.
Fetch a barrel to collect Snape's tears, because of course. I think in the cutscene, Harry also goes and gets some onions to make Snape cry more so he can collect his tears. Just a little bit brutal, but I guess it does the trick.
And then he shoves Snape's head into the bucket.
Yes, yeah. That's it. It's a quick drop in camera pan skip there.
Очень просто все. Если, конечно, знать, как делать такие скипы. И все, мы приближаемся к концу. Всего лишь один уровень остался. И что самое интересное, Лего Гарри Поттер
happens optimally, I think is a better way of describing it.
в
We can
казуальном прохождении
finish the level
занимает
itself
и не
in
так и много
17
времени.
seconds.
Это
So
где-то
the level
11
itself
часов
is one
вам
free
потребуется,
script and
чтобы
some pretty
пройти игру
difficult
казуально.
movements to hit a
А тут
vampire trigger.
всего лишь-то час 20.
Basically what happens is normally that level is about 12 minutes long. Because you have to fight all the different phases of Voldemort, plus you do some of the fight against Bellatrix and all the other Death Eaters and stuff. I think Nagini's there as well. You have to normally do all that stuff. But thankfully, how long ago was it now? 2 years ago? 2.5?
Yeah, that's about right.
A out of bounds trigger was found for the room completely accidentally. They were just, I think, was it Annabeth that found it?
И сейчас говорится о том, что ООБ был найден абсолютно случайно.
That was before, like, we found we could use cheat engine or whatever to be able to perfectly identify what all the triggers are for every
Если
room.
подбородком проходить, если руками дольше, да. Если руками, то дольше.
For the room, as in 8-1, where we entered Bellatrix Vault and left back, you start in the room where you actually finish the level, and in between are different rooms. So luckily, the level end trigger, it's not stored to the state you're in; it's stored to the room you're in.
Yep.
So you can still hit it, even though you're not in the correct state.
Yes, absolutely. Origin, you're going to have to get ready on time. You're closer.
Yep.
So,
Сейчас
as I
будет,
said,
кстати,
this,
время
level
практически.
starts off with a freeze clip. And we're going to go behind the vault here. I forgot I can't use Ron. That's useful. We need to get Ron out of there. I have my characters the wrong way round, which is a little bit annoying, but that's fine. So we set up the infinite freeze clip here. This is quite a tough one to get out of bounds, but that
И вот сейчас будет довольно сложный клип, потому что нам надо было заклипаться так, чтобы второй персонаж вышел из льда в определенном месте, дабы мы могли продолжить вот этот вот выход в ООБ. И все. Игра пройдена. Потому что внутри вот того уголка, куда мы забежали, находятся триггеры, запускающие финал игры. Изи. Изи. Час 19 вместо 11 часов. Час 13 по таймеру, не РТАшному, именно таймеру, который используют спидранеры на борде.
As you could probably see, a lot of this game comes down to RNG.
And if you're wondering how fast it is unrestricted, where you can skip Reducto, it's less than an hour.
Yes, yeah, it's 53 minutes, I think,
Yeah.
world record now. But I guess it's time to do a few shout-outs. So thank you very much to these two commentators, Loz and Origin. Check both of these amazing dudes out. They are
О, отлично.
very, very cool. Also,
Привет.
thank you to the entirety of ESA for having us. Once again, back again this
Добрый
year
день,
with even
добрый
more
день.
Lego
Добрый
games,
день.
which is
У нас
amazing.
тут целая
Lego
главная
community as a whole,
твича,
thank
так
you
что
very much. You've got Justin,
Да, я
представляю тебе огромный
Здесь-
дружелюбный чатик.
John,
И Гарри Поттер, и Goblet of Fire. Это Кубок Огня вроде, да?
They all do an awesome job, and just everybody who's involved in the community.
Goblet
It's
of
such a
Fire.
welcoming and
Да.
friendly community.
Кубок Огня, все.
It's been great to showcase these,
Что ж, удачи,
games
чатик.
here. So, I
Удачи
think
тебе
that's about it
в
for
Fail
us.
Race.
Throw it back over to you.
Легкого комментирования.
Ага.
Все.
Спасибо.